Coming up on ASU-TV News, there is a new exhibition at the Bradbury Art Museum, the 2020 mayoral debate, our weekly weather, and more. ASU-TV News starts now.
From the School of Media and Journalism, from the campus of Arkansas State University in Jonesboro, this is ASU-TV News.
Good afternoon and welcome to the first edition of the ASU-TV News. Today is October 26th and I'm Maddison Smith. Radius 1 is a survey of the cultural ecosystem of our region, collaboratively curated by the Bradbury Art Museum members. Ubai has the story.
The exhibition, shown in 4 of Bradbury Art Museum's 6 galleries, highlights works by 38 artists who live or work within 180 miles in any direction of BAM.
180 miles is a drivable half day for most of these people. That means that the artists can come and deliver the work if they need to, but it also, more importantly, means they can come and see the show.
The distance also increases the likelihood that individuals from their network would want to be involved in the future. The exhibition argues for bringing into people's homes and workspaces art that delights the eyes and excites imagination. More than that, it also encourages people to take risks and a capability of art to inspire ideas about the human condition, the natural world, and how we interact with our surroundings in the 21st century. For the first Radius exhibition, the museum chose to create a separate, dedicated space for the NEA Artist Collective to emphasize the museum's goal to work with the local artist group.
I think those things can help me to know more about art and make my design keep grow and getting a high level. So this is a way to study art for me.
The goal of this exhibition is to help identify the regional sense of place and to connect with artists and organizations who drive it. Reporting by Ubai, ASU-TV News.
Even with COVID-19 precautions, A-State bands found a safe way to continue to cheer for their team. With football season upon us, the sound of the natural state had to find alternatives so they could still perform. Assistant Director of Bands Dr. Stephen Riley said during the summer, the Professional Music Education Organization did research to figure out the best way to social distance during the performances and the sidelines.
Our State Department guidelines recommend that direct that bands should be at least 6 feet apart, except for trombones. They actually get 9 feet of distance around each other. Again, that's just because the research is showing that they are a bigger spreader of aerosol, and so.
Case Foundation has awarded grants to 4 Arkansas State University faculty members to fund their projects during the academic year. The grants will also go towards funding the Scarlet to Black literacy program and a new acute care lab for physical therapy students. According to Executive Vice President of the Case Foundation, Terry Carty, the grants are part of the Foundation's ongoing commitment to assist the university and help advance its academic service and research missions. This year, Jonesboro voters have the opportunity to choose a new mayor. Current Mayor Harold Perrin will not run for re-election, and the three candidates vying for his position took part in the debate. Tristan Bennett has the story.
The Jonesboro mayoral candidates took the stage for a debate hosted by KAIT and KASU. They were asked first about their plans to respond to the pandemic. Candidate Andy Shatley suggested a local task force.
I will tell you that bringing hospital administrators, bringing legislators, and bringing business leaders into the same room to help make these decisions locally is what I believe is the best way forward.
The candidates also tackled issues like racism and diversity in Jonesboro.
And we'd be naive if we don't think that we have a problem here in Jonesboro. So we just have to be honest, and we can't sugarcoat our history. And we just have to take these problems head on.
Now that there's going to be new leadership, people from all facets of this community, most of which have not been involved in many situations or been asked to be at the table. Now they're willing to be asked.
Another hot topic of discussion, city funding for the police and fire departments.
Some of the things that we need to focus on, and number one in my campaign has been public service. Well, staffing of the police department and the fire department is an issue. It's a priority that we all need to be concerned about.
You have police and fire, which they're professionals, and you don't really need a political person or mayor or something really interfering with that operation. You just have to make sure that they're funded in a manner that's possible, that you can continue.
And finally, the candidates gave one last pitch for the viewers' votes.
But your question needs to be answered is who is the candidate that has the qualifications and experience to put all this in effect? I feel that I am that candidate.
If you want to talk about experience being a leader, if you want to talk about experience inspiring people and serving people over the last 15 years, that's the candidate that you're referring to right here.
And we need a mayor that can actually answer a question in a language that the people can actually understand. And it may be a fault of mine, I don't know, but if you ask me a question, I will give you the best answer that I know how to give.
The full footage of the debate is available on KAIT's website as well as their app. The mayoral election will take place on November 3rd along with the national elections. Reporting from Jonesboro City Hall, Tristan Bennett, ASU-TV News.
It's feeling more like winter than fall outside today. Right now on campus we're sitting at 53 degrees, but with the wind it's feeling more like 49 out there. Better start pulling out your rain jackets and umbrellas. Coming up after the break, I'll have a look at the rainy week ahead of us. Tonight is going to be cold and rainy. We are sitting at 53 degrees, but the low for tonight is a chilly 42. Around 6 p.m., our chance of rain goes up to 60%, and as we head into the night, storms may be possible as well. We have a rainy week ahead of us. Tuesday looks almost like a cold winter day with a high of just 48 and a low of 44. Wednesday we have more of the same rain, but temperatures do rebound a little with a high of 60 and a low of 56. Storms will start to move out on Thursday night and temperatures will start to warm up. Going into the weekend, Friday and Saturday look brighter with only a 10% chance of rain and temperatures in the upper 60s. And with that, I'll send us in a break. When we come back, we'll have a good 4 minutes with the new graduate dean at Arkansas State University. For several years, Arkansas State University did not have a graduate school dean. Dr. Sharice Jones Branch is the first black woman to fill the position of graduate school dean. Jones Branch took over the role this July. ASU-TV news reporter Ubai sat down and talked with Dr. Sharice Jones Branch.
So, when did you become the graduate dean at A-State?
Well, I was appointed to the position at the end of February, early March 2020, but I officially began as graduate school dean on July 1st, 2020.
Okay. So, what's your job responsibilities as the dean?
As dean, I'm responsible for graduate school programs. My office rather is responsible for graduate admissions, making sure graduate students graduate. I'm also responsible for being an advocate for the graduate students.
So, comparing your other work, like as the history professor, what do you think of is the difference between these two jobs?
I think what's different is that I get to deal with a much greater range of graduate students. As a history professor, I dealt largely with graduate students who were either in the Heritage Studies PhD program or master's students in the history program. As graduate school dean, I still deal with those students, but I also get to deal with students who are from engineering, business, education, all disciplines on campus with graduate programs.
Okay. Will the epidemic due to the COVID-19 situation, does it affect your plans or your other plans for the rest of this semester or in the future?
As graduate school dean?
Yeah.
No, I don't I don't think so. I think the only difference is that we've had to do everything virtually. And so the only thing that's different for me is that I spent a whole lot more time on Zoom than I ever have before.
Okay, but for your as a professor of history, so does the epidemic affect your teaching ways, like transform the in-person classes to online classes?
Well, I have to tell you, in my first year as graduate school dean, I'm not teaching this year, but I did make the pivot like everyone else in the spring. And it, for me, it was what was necessary. So I did what I had to do. I was already familiar with using Zoom. I was also familiar with teaching online. So the pivot didn't impact me very much. It was different, but it wasn't anything that I found to be a problem. I just found it to be something that I had to do, and I adapted accordingly.
Okay, so what do you think of that? These new jobs bring something in your life?
I think it's an opportunity for me to, as I said before, to really engage more with different kinds of students on campus from different disciplines. It's also the opportunity for me to talk to and meet colleagues that I might not have otherwise. I get to communicate with faculty members and other professors I might only ever see at graduation. As graduate school dean, they have graduate programs or they're involved in graduate programs, so I'm communicating with them more now than I think I ever have before.
That's it for our today's interview, and thank you for coming again. Yeah, have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And that does it for us on ASU-TV News for today. For more throughout the week, follow us on Twitter at ASU-TV News and on Facebook at facebook.com/ASU-TV News. We'll see you back here on Wednesday with more campus news. Have a great evening, everyone.